Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hartford Whalers expansion franchise here on NHL 24. We're still rocking here for now, as we're now entering Year 5, and welcome to Game 1 of our Year 5 season, as Brandon Montour for Sammy Maki, some early offensive action to start this episode this season, as Montour ripped from the point, blocked by Zadina, and she does get a backhand chance there for Philip Gustafson, now the goaltender for Washington in his second season after signing a 4-year deal in free agency a couple years ago. But welcome back to Hartford Whalers hockey. We had a very eventful offseason, and that led into the preseason as well. But we see Gabriel Landeskog on the ice, as that's going to be intercepted, taken back the other way by Drake Batherson, newly signed in free agency, as the Washington Capitals now without Alexander Ovechkin for the first time in about 2 decades, as he retired. And now it's a new regime here, a new era for Washington, as we're the first to test them. Mark Scheifele, another shot right in front, and Gustafson has been tested already a couple times here early on. And there's Cole Sillinger. I alluded that it didn't end in the offseason. We took some transactions into preseason, as we really needed to get an upgrade there at our 4th center spot. So Cole Sillinger coming over from Columbus, as we sent them Graham Clark and a 7th round pick. And now in the neutral zone, as Zadina fresh off a 4-year extension, as Gabriel Landeskog, his first rush as a Whaler, as he's still fighting for it there in the zone. But Drake Batherson, who signed a 6-year contract with the Caps, as now Strome hit off the puck, peak now for Scheifele over for Leo Karlsson, now at age 24, really trying to elevate his game. And now Mark Stone to Bradford, a rip, and that's the first time we've seen Yaroslav Askarov tested his second season, or second full season with Hartford, as we did trade for him at the deadline a couple years back. Now still in the offensive zone for Hartford, as the Caps able to take it the other way. That's Bradford, a second-year winger, former top 10 pick. Now Karlsson over for Andrew Kopp, up for Karlsson, and now we could not get a clean look there, as Brock Besser had a chance in front of the net. So some very good offensive execution to start this season for Hartford here at the XL Center, back at home. And we're trying to get back to the postseason for the second time in this franchise, as Jack Roslovic loses that face-off. Washington back the other way. Bradford, the young winger, also that sniper playing style. Now Tom Wilson, the former Capital, as he'll feed for Roslovic, couldn't get a clean shot off, and again Gustafson will freeze. Some good action early on. Let's hopefully translate that into the first goal of this year. Third line's out there for both sides, as Roslovic does win that one back for Provorov. Now Mangiapane, a backhand in front. Karlsson does get that for Capitals, but Wilson forces a turnover, and Roslovic had an empty side of the net there, but could not get the angle. Now Christian Kyrou back the other way for Washington, as one of their very young defensemen on this team, very inexperienced in that position. And now Provorov back for Hartford will feed Wilson into the zone. Wilson working towards the net, as that is poked away. William Karlsson comes over from Vegas, and now Tom Wilson still with it in the zone. Now Mangiapane, as he's going to be roughed up a little bit, but Provorov does get possession. Now Wilson back for Peak, and now Provorov in front for Roslovic, back for Peak, and that's deflected in front by Mangiapane off the post. And we almost had it there, as Karlsson will feed Tomas Tatar the other way. Washington a chance off the rebound, and a pad save by Askarov as he gets over to rob Liam Greentree, the 15th overall pick from 2024, making his NHL debut. So a good counter rush there by the Caps, and each side answering here early on, or I guess we should say the goaltenders answering early on, as Tom Wilson, a bone-crushing hit there in front of the Washington net, as the 4th line checks in for each side. We'll get our first look here at Cole Sillinger, along with Denis Guryanov, who promptly intercepts that one back the other way. Hartford into the zone. Guryanov working towards the net, and tried the centering pass there. Loose puck for Sillinger. His shot goes wide, as we had another quality chance. Now Denisenko back for the defenseman. I couldn't see who it was, as Sillinger trying to fight for it, and Washington eventually gets it out. That's Hanzek, a young center here for the Caps, now in front for Pius Suter, as that one goes wide. Hanzek now, as Suter in front. Loose puck for Sillinger. LaPierre now a shot, a weak one, as that's going to be taken off the rebound by Daniil Chaika, as he earned the spot on our 3rd defensive pairing. Now towards the net, working with it back to the point. I think that was Spence for Zadina. Now Scheifele into the corner, as we get our top line back out there. Philip Zadina working there against Kuznetsov, now the longest tenured Capital. And that's Kyle Lowry, a 2nd round pick, so he came straight from junior hockey as he departed his club there. Now Zadina towards the net for, I don't know who that was, a Landeskog that was. Now Tony DeAngelo off the rebound. Another very good chance here for Hartford. And now Mark Stone in the neutral zone as a loose puck going to be picked up by Hartford. And that's Brandon Montour, a monster preseason, 5 points in just 3 games, including an overtime winner there against the Devils in our finale. As a nice rush here for Hartford developing as it stalls out, but able to recoup here. Zadina now in the corner for Scheifele. And that's going to be picked up by DeAngelo to Mark Stone. Mark Stone, like William Karlsson, each signed 1-year deals here with the Capitals as they restore some veteran experience as Ovechkin retires. Bradford now trying to be fought off by Montour. Back to the point for Strome for Sandin, and that one goes wide. Picked up by Leo Carlson. He'll get that for Andrew Kopp. Andrew Kopp now leading the charge along with Brock Besser, and the centering pass was intercepted there by DeAngelo as a long pass there for Batherson, or now for Dylan Strome, as he will just chip that into the corner. Batherson in front for Donato, and I think that was blocked. Now along the boards, DeAngelo, backhand pass there for Sandin, who worked towards the net as that was deflected away. Now back for DeAngelo as Leo Carlson able to take that away at the point. Leads it back the other way. Leo Carlson in on the break. A good pad save there on the forehand chance. Mocking now for Karlsson for Tom Wilson. A good chance there as he went up into the slot. And again, a very good save here by Philip Gustafsson as he has flashed the leather a bunch here. Again, his second season here with the Capitals. And now Hartford again into the zone. Brozovic for Mangiapane. Mangiapane a shot as that was short side, but a delayed penalty. Andrew Peak now for Brozovic. Brozovic bounce pass off the backboards by Wilson as he cannot regain possession. So the first power play with 1:30 remaining in this first period of play. Non-stop action, just how you like to see it. But now we need an answer as Philip Gustafsson has held up extremely well in this first game of the Year 5 season. And our third line there with Mangiapane, Tom Wilson, and Jack Brozovic clicking early on. I think that's going to be a very good pairing, although we do plan on shuffling a little bit depending how it goes. So our power play now out there for the first time. It's been a big struggle on the power play throughout this franchise as we had a quick chance there. Guryanov off the win there on the face-off. Snagged there by Gustafsson as we see Liam Greentree, former 15th overall pick, as I said, making his NHL debut. I mean, not that he's filling the shoes of Alexander Ovechkin, but not that there's high expectations or anything at this point as one of their up-and-coming forwards trying to fill that void. But before that, you got to get the PK, got to get the penalty kill as Hartford wins that. Guryanov now for Montour over for Scheifele. Scheifele couldn't really get a chance. Backhand there for Karlsson in front. Good save, Gustafsson, as we are able to keep it in the zone. Scheifele now for Karlsson, and that goes behind the net. Full pressure here is for Harvey. Gets that for William Karlsson. They got to get it clear as he does get that up for Pius Suter, and now over for Barry Alcock. That's poked away by Scheifele, trying to lead a counter rush. As it looks like we do have numbers here. Scheifele in on net, and he does find him in there. Landeskog, a chance, forehand, and that was stopped. And now Karlsson back for Landeskog as he'll try to work that in front. Backhand there by Karlsson. I think that was saved again, unless it was off the post. Guryanov, forehand on the rebound. Barry Alcock gets that one out of the way. Gustafsson was in full desperation mode, sprawling, as that will take us into the second period. So Washington able to survive there towards the end of the first period on what was a very strong power play there. You saw Scheifele just almost had that rebound, a wide open net, as we're still scoreless here in Hartford, as we were able to outshoot them 15-6, more than doubled their time on attack, and also had the advantage in the faceoff circle. So one's gotta fall here. They're gonna start flowing, I think, at that point. But we're gonna have Scheifele on the draw here against Lapierre to start this second period of play, as Hartford is on the power play. Brock Besser will take it in off the faceoff win. Dumps that. Barry Alcock, former first-round pick, his second season now with the Capitals. Last year as a rookie, I want to say about 15 points or so, but more of a defensive guy. As Scheifele long outlet pass there for Landeskog, as he will lead that into the zone. And again, Barry Alcock going to get that up for Donato, who will take that out. So Washington does get the penalty kill here. And now going back the other way, Kuznetsov hit off the puck there. And a loose one there for Askarov as he put that across the crease for Besser. Back the other way now for Scheifele. Strome over for Kuznetsov as Washington now with possession. They're at the logo in congestion. Hartford does get the puck. Karlsson now along the boards in the Washington zone. Loose puck picked up by Strome, being held up by Karlsson, as Karlsson does win the battle eventually. Back behind the net for Scheifele, back for Karlsson. Now Scheifele in front, couldn't get one off. Back to the point for Montour, a rip, and that's saved by Gustafsson into the corner, picked up by Strome, up for Batherson. Kept in the zone now, Montour with it. Good play there by Scheifele to let that one develop, and snagged there by Gustafsson. That third line back out there for both teams, but more notably us, as we do have Tom Wilson against his former team. Also Mangiapane, our captain. Karlsson now the signee from Las Vegas. As on Tomas Tatar knocked down to the ice. As Hartford with it, Sami Maki for his mate there on defense. Montour who gets Mangiapane, as that will be turned over in the neutral zone. Fighting for it along the boards. Tom Wilson there, as he couldn't get it, and then that one just goes all the way back behind our net for Maki, now for Mangiapane. As we do have some space to work with, it looks like. Mangiapane just going to rip that one as Gustafsson corrals that for another face-off in the Whalers' offensive zone. Fourth line's back out there for each side, and I do feel like our fourth line also generated some chances there in that first period as well. Hopefully we see more of the same here. LaPierre with it in his defensive zone, being held up by Denisenko, who proved to be a pretty nice addition at last year's deadline, as we sent Scott Lawton and Oliver Bjorkstrand to Florida. Now Washington with it in Hartford territory, as the Whalers again end up with it. So I just feel like we're winning all the puck battles. We've had possession most of the way. We've had a lot of quality chances, and we just need one to fall. Now for Harvey, a pending free agent, maybe someone we target in the upcoming offseason, but that's quite a ways away, of course. But it's not. It doesn't hurt to look that far into the future, as a very nice glove save by Askarov has not been tested much here. Maybe just the 5th or 6th shot on goal for the Caps. But Askarov has looked good. A very good debut season last year. And now the second line out there for Hartford is Kopp, not able to win the draw. D'Angelo over for Lowry, the 18-year-old making his NHL debut. There's nothing doing there for Washington. Now back the other way is Hartford. A good play there along the boards, though, by Lowry. Again, a second-round pick, and they plucked him straight from his junior club. Still fighting for it there along the boards, as Batherson with it, a fade there into the zone for Strome, as a good defensive play there by Provorov on the stick check. And Karlsson really couldn't get anything going there as he turned it over at the blue line. And Dylan Strome now in front for Batherson, a backhand chance, and Askarov closed that angle. And now a face-off to the right of Yaroslav Askarov. Jack Razovic on the draw for Hartford, and Strome will win that. D'Angelo will shoot that, and he will score. I think Drake Batherson actually deflected that, and Washington gets on the board first, and that's why you got to love hockey, despite the fact that Hartford has been owning and just dominating throughout this game. It just takes one goal to, put all that to bed, as that doesn't even matter now. And that was a rip there from the point by Tony DeAngelo. Has played about for every team here in the Metro Division, excluding our Hartford Whalers, as Washington up 1-0. And Lowry, the defenseman we were talking about, the 18-year-old, he might have had a point there, as he did. So the first NHL point there for Lowry, now with the puck. And so he'll get that up for Dylan Strome into the zone for Donato. Donato centering pass there, as that was knocked away by Provorov. And now Andrew Peak with it. Got to get the answer. Andrew Peak up the boards now for Wilson. And so just flick that one towards the net, knocked away by Gustafsson. As Mangiapane fighting for it now. A turnover in front by Razovic. He shoots, and that was saved by Gustafsson. Now Kuznetsov ends up with the loose puck back the other way. Now picked off by Maki. As now still a loose puck. Maki will have the wherewithal to keep going. Now Razovic trying the long feed there for Wilson. Cut off by Gustafsson, as he will cover that one. Top line out there for Hartford against the bottom line for Washington. Hopefully we can take advantage, but it did not start with a face-off win, as Washington back the other way. Suter from Hanzek into the zone for the Capitals. Starting pass for Hanzek, and he scores. So just 10 shots on goal for Washington, and I think that's back-to-back that have fallen now. And we're in an even deeper hole, of course, than we were a second ago. And I did not see this coming based on our hot start. I thought we were in store for a very good game here. Montour there trying to seal off Suter. but he does get that long centering pass for Hanzek, who's quite alone there in front of the net. So just like that, Washington up 2-0 here. 7:46 remaining in the second period. Maki, their backhand pass for Landeskog as he's a hit off the puck, but he will go back for it. But too little too late as Alcock now over for Sandin, up for Suter. Suter there, a shot knocked away by Askarov. Sammy Maki now over for Zadina now for a turnover. Lapierre now in front. His shot rebound in front. Askarov able to freeze that. Hartford does get that one off the tie-up. Montour leads the charge. Montour for Scheifele. Forehand chance again. Gustafsson with the save. I feel like we just need one. And once we get one, they'll start falling. But Gustafsson flawless so far, as he's held up his end of the deal here for the Capitals. And now that bottom line out for Hartford. Cole Sillinger on the draw against Karlsson. And Sillinger wins that back for Chaika. Chaika shot. Good rip there, gloved away. And now loose puck in front. Gustafsson sprawls for that one. And again covers it up. I feel like a lot of offensive zone draws for our Whalers. As Capitals lead 10-8 in that category. Sillinger does win that one back though. As Greentree barging towards the puck. The rookie now leading it the other way for the Capitals. As he gets a soft shot in on that, was contested by Chaika. And that's Jordan Spence up for Guryanov. Jordan Spence, the acquisition from the Kings this past offseason. Guryanov now into the corner. Backhand pass in front for Denisenko. Good setup there. And Guryanov has been playing very well. But again, Gustafsson slams the door. Sillinger versus Karlsson again here. And Sillinger will win it again. I think that's 3 in a row for him. As Guryanov a shot. And that's saved by Gustafsson. Prime real estate there for Gustafsson. Or I'm sorry, for Guryanov, but couldn't finish. And now fighting against Greentree there in the neutral zone. Greentree picked off by Denisenko for Guryanov. Now for Sillinger on a break. Cole Sillinger, his first game. And he can't deliver there. Starting pass for Guryanov. His shot. And another glove saved by Gustafsson. We'll play that for Sandin. As Hartford with full pressure. But they are able to escape the zone now. 2-0 for Washington. Donato off a feed there from Karlsson. And Askarov cuts that one off. Let's see if this second line of Kopp, Karlsson, Besser can get something going. As you do get the face-off win. Peak now will lead the charge over for Provorov. Provorov towards the net, has some space, a shot. Rebound for Harvey. And so we'll get that up for Donato. Trying to work that in, picked off by Provorov. As he peels back. Provorov now up the boards for Kopp. Andrew Kopp able to work it in. Karlsson now pass for Besser. What a save by Gustafsson. What a setup, what a save. As he preserves this shutout, standing on his head in this one. Now into the corner, Kyrou. Over for Harvey, and now up for Strome as Washington is able to get it out as the final 30 seconds in this second period. Donato peels back to the point for Kyrou, now in front for Strome. Good setup, and Askarov just barely able to get the glove there. And now just 14.6 seconds remaining as Washington does get the offensive zone draw back for D'Angelo. As we are able to break that up back the other way. I don't know if we have enough time, though. Scheifele is picked off, so it doesn't matter. As that will do it through 2 here at the XL Center. And the Capitals net 2 in that second period. As we are still without a goal. The Capitals up 2-0 in a game that I will say we have dominated. We have owned the puck. And we have owned time on attack. But it's not about any of those stats. It's about can you score. And we even double their shots 28-14. But a standout debut performance to this Year 5 season, of course, by Philip Gustafsson. And our offense has gotten plenty of chances, obviously, with those 28 shots, but not enough. But hopefully we can at least tie it up here, get some post-regulation action as we do in the opening draw. Gabriel Landeskog trying to power that into the zone as his centering pass was intercepted by Strome now for Batherson. As he gets that into the zone, centering pass for Strome, a shot, and he scores as the Capitals force the turnover on the other end, take it back on the counter rush, and they find the back of the net for the 3rd time. And if you watched the preseason episode, you saw us just get absolutely slaughtered. I thought we'd have better results in this one, which we have, but just not in terms of finding the back of the net, as Askarov just not looking his sharpest either. Not that we've held up our end of the deal on the scoreboard, but now the deficit even larger. As a quick one here to start the 3rd period, so 3-0. It's going to take quite the valiant effort from our team, but never say die. As Montour trying to get something going, and we answer right back. Mark Scheifele will get that in for our first goal of the Year 5 season, so we do still have some hope as we trade goals here in the first minute, first 57 seconds, as it's now 3-1. Long pass there by Montour, and I thought Landeskog might have been the guy there to finish it, as I guess that hit off Scheifele in the crease there. So I guess Landeskog and Montour the assists, as we are able to net our first of this Year 5 season here in episode 59, the first series here from this JVids Gaming YouTube channel. And assists there, Landeskog and Montour. So a little bit of hope here, but we can't give up any more, as Washington promptly into the zone, picked off by Zadina. Landeskog now trying to work it up the boards as he does regain possession. Back for Montour. Now Maki. And that a weak backhand pass picked off by Strome, now leading the charge again. Donato in front. And Askarov makes a big save. We need another quick one, and a power play certainly would be nice. Scheifele on the draw does get that back for Zadina. We've been a good face-off team most of the way, I'd say, as we lose possession there in neutral zone, as Barry Alcock, one of the young defenders on this team. Centering pass for Donato. I'm not sure if Askarov got a piece of that, but prime chance there for Donato. That backhand chance blocked, now taken back the other way by Landeskog. Gabriel Landeskog for Zadina in front for Scheifele, and that one, I think Gustafsson got the pad on it into the corner now. Landeskog still fighting two Capitals defenders off, as Batherson finally ends up with that. Strome now over for Bradford, as Bradford on the break, young goal scorer for the Capitals, as Montour able to catch up to him on that rush. Good recovery defense, as he now gets Karlsson the other way. Leo Karlsson, a shot, a weak one there, as Gustafsson will save that, but still 15:09 remaining, plenty of time to rewrite this 2-goal deficit, as we'll have Andrew Kopp now on the draw against Evgeny Kuznetsov. Tie up there as Stone with now Kopp over for Brock Besser. Besser shot, and Gustafsson able to get the body in front. So I think that's now over 30 shots on goal for the Hartford Whalers, with still 14:47 remaining in this third period. As we've been going over, a weak defensive front now. Karlsson off the rebound, as full pressure will amount to nothing as Washington does get it out, but they do have a pretty weak defensive core. As for Harvey, hit off the puck now into the corner. Bradford back for, not sure who that was, as Hartford does get it. Provorov a long pass for Karlsson. Starting pass was picked off by for Harvey. Kopp was charging towards the net, trying to get it. As for Harvey, does get Christian Kyrou now, one of the young defenders on this team. Now Liam Greentree in his NHL debut. Into the corner, second pass for Karlsson, a shot, and that's going to knock the water bottle off, and that will give Liam Greentree his first NHL point. Really good work there in the corner, peeling away and finding the man right in front of the net, as William Karlsson, his first goal as a member of the Washington Capitals, already an alternate captain on this team. And Askarov, I mean, we've been giving up pretty good chances when they've come, despite the lack of quantity compared to ours, as it's now 4-1, and at this point maybe an insurmountable comeback, unless again we can answer right back. But the Capitals certainly, I don't think, played better than we did, but they did what you need to do, and they found the back of the net almost again, as Karlsson a good chance in front. Askarov the save. Stick with us though after the game. We are gonna sim ahead a little bit, maybe sim ahead up to game 10 or so. We want to try and work through this Year 5 season at a pretty quick pace. I am going to start a new expansion franchise once the new NHL game comes out this fall, but we're going to try and knock out as many more seasons of this one as we can. And now Mangiapane towards the net, working through some defenders. Backhand chance saved by Gustafsson, as now Liam Greentree with it. Hit off the puck there by Rozovic. Welcome to the NHL. Lowry, another rookie, as going to be a penalty for Hartford. I think that was Andrew Peak, maybe interference. One of our right-handed defensemen on this team, his second season in Hartford. Signed him as a free agent. Came over from the Columbus. And I think we have 4 or 5 former Blue Jackets on this team. As we take a look there, Peak there just working against the rookie Lowry. One of 2 rookies in this game with points in their NHL debut, Liam Greentree being the other. As the face-off circle, now 16-15 advantage Hartford. Let's get a shorty here. That would certainly shift the momentum a little bit. Mangiapane going to chip that in to the corner. Bradford for Strome. Now a stretch pass there for D'Angelo, as that's poked away by Sammy Maki. Maki, the 2024 first overall pick, as he's emerging as a defensive stalwart for us. And now Mangiapane in the neutral zone, turned over, as Kuznetsov gets Batherson towards the net. Picked off again by Mangiapane. And it's just about halfway through this Washington power play. Dylan Strome now over for Kuznetsov. Poked away there as they really can't get a zone entry. And again, Batherson couldn't handle that one. They finally do get into the zone now. Dylan Strome knocked off by Maki. As he does get the puck and will clear the zone there for Mangiapane. Working there along the boards there in front of their bench. And as they will get that over now for Scheifele. And he'll dump that in. Very good penalty kill here for the Whalers. Here on the final seconds, though, a 2-on-1 developing for the Capitals. A forehand chance there by Batherson, stopped by Askarov. So 9:11 now remaining in this third period. Probably too little too late for our Whalers, but despite the loss, I mean, I am pleasantly surprised at how we've played. Of course, some big names added like Gabriel Landeskog. It's going to take a little bit to mesh, but I think they've gotten some very good chances. But we just ran into a very good goaltender here today, and ours hasn't been as good or nearly as good, as he does have a good save that time. Washington getting some pressure here now towards the end of the game. Loose puck now for Provorov. Held up by Kuznetsov. Kicked into the other corner. Peek now up the boards for Zadina, just barely able to keep that onside. That is now working against for Harvey in the corner. And glitching out a little bit there. A lot of time now just going to get slashed from the clock. 4 hours later. And finally at 6:57 they stop it. As Zadina could not get possession there, just glitching out. As we'll get Andrew Kopp back out there on the draw against William Karlsson. Karlsson a goal here in his first game as a member of the Capitals. Peek off the draw for Provorov in front for Kopp. And an easy snare there for Gustafsson. Now 6:42 left. We get another offensive zone win. Provorov looking at his options. Brock Boeser from the side of the net. As a good stop by Gustafsson. Tried a little sneak attack there. It was Boeser. And now Kyrou into the zone for Tatar. Tatar now back for Harvey. Into the corner. And so get that for Greentree now behind the net. Try the Michigan, you won't. And now that's for Kyrou, I believe. For Harvey now in front for Karlsson. Paddled away there by Askarov. Now Kopp kicks that up the boards. Picked up by a teammate, Leo Karlsson. Backhand pass there for Boeser. Brock Boeser now into the zone. Boeser tried the centering pass. Picked off by Tatar. Greentree now for Harvey. And again, Washington Capitals will go on the power play here, pending a goal. As that will be stopped. So Brock Boeser, I think, for tripping is the call. 4:12 remaining. So about half of game action set to be on the Washington power play. Cole Sillinger out there. Haven't seen him in a while, I feel like. As again, he wins the faceoff. So as a fourth line center, certainly getting the job done as a centerman on the draw. As Tom Wilson will feed him into the zone. And a good hit there by Sillinger. Laying the body on Bradford. And there's Wilson setting the tone with the body. So if we're not going to beat them on the scoreboard, let's at least beat them in the fight. And now Strome, that's poked away to Gustafsson, who will not play that out. I mean, at this point, just give your team something going there on the power play. 3:32 now remaining as Hartford set for the offensive zone draw here on the penalty kill. We have Andrew Kopp accompanied there by Jack Roslovic as our two forwards here. Back for Semi Maki as he tried to rip, blocked by his own man. And now in front for Roslovic, tried to forehand there. As he had a nice feed from Kopp, but nothing doing. As Gustafsson, just a phenomenal performance for him. Tatar intercepted. Now Roslovic the other way. Roslovic has some speed, some space. As his shot again saved by Gustafsson. His 39th save of the game. Undoubtedly the first start in this one. As Batherson a feed for Sandin. He had a break. Tried the extra pass for Strome. As that was knocked away. Kuznetsov now gets that for Tatar. Now for Batherson. As this power play winds down. Loose puck into the corner for Kuznetsov. In front for Batherson. Now Kuznetsov a chance as these last seconds on the power play. And we will be back at full strength here for the final 2 minutes. Now in the corner for Maki. Maki for Daniil Chaika. I'm sorry, that's Brock Boeser out of the box. Another extra pass there. I think Montour probably should have just took that. As we're into the final minute about here. Kuznetsov, good spin move into the zone. And Askarov will make the save with exactly 1 minute remaining. We're going to end the game with our top line out there, it looks like. As Scheifele, another win on the faceoff. As Chaika gets Gabriel Landeskog the puck into the zone. As Landeskog for Spence a shot. And again, Gustafsson flashing the leather. Man, Philip Gustafsson, you cannot say enough about him. Maybe the best performance for a goalie here in the first game of any team. And Scheifele knocks a man off the puck, and Zadina could not get a clean rip-off as Batherson leads the charge the other way. Batherson, a shot, and he scores his second in his Capitals debut. So a new-look Capitals team, and all these new faces contributing. As we saw Karlsson, his first game, he scored. Batherson, his first game, after signing a 6-year contract, he scores twice, along with those rookies, Greentree getting an assist, that defenseman Lowry getting an assist. And now the 5th goal surrendered here by Askarov. That was a really good shot, though. That just came out of nowhere. Did not see that coming from Drake Batherson. And Yaroslav Askarov kind of, figured we were going to get out of this one unscathed the rest of the way. But the Capitals had other plans as we now fall 5-1 in this one. As Zadina trying to restore some dignity. Landeskog shot, save Gustafsson. What else is new? As now loose puck along the boards. And if, after the first few minutes of play, you said this game was going to end 5-1, I feel like all of us would have been on board with that being to the Whalers' advantage, as Jordan Spence another rip and another denial by Gustafsson. And now 21 seconds remaining. I feel like it just takes forever sometimes to get out of these games. As now Chaika off the face-off win. I was going to say, but if we can get another goal out of it, I would welcome that. As we're now into the final 10 seconds of this first game of this Year 5 season. As Donato for Strome. Are they going to get one more? As Askarov will pad the save percentage ever so slightly with that one. Certainly needs it. There's just a couple ticks left in this one. But if you're tuned in for this game, I really appreciate it, especially if you've stuck around the rest of the way despite the poor results. And even in a 5-1 defeat, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like we've had a lot of bright spots as they tried the quick one off the draw. But it's now official. The Capitals win their first game without Alexander Ovechkin in what was over, I think, 2 decades of dominant play from their left wing. Of course, the all-time leader in goals as Philip Gustafsson. Have yourself a night. You certainly deserve the win in this one. And we're going to see more of the Capitals, of course, being a division opponent there in the Metro Division. I mean, I think we were supposed to supplant them this year just based on based on paper. I think we do have the better team, but they had the better team tonight. We have to get better in our ensuing games. But like I said, we are going to sim ahead a little bit and work our way through this Year 5 season, and hopefully we have better results and we can kind of go out on a high note rather than a 5-1 defeat. So with that, our Whalers are quick 0-1 to start this Year 5 season, as we're now in October of 2027. And as promised, we are going to sim ahead here as our first road game now of this season against the Carolina Hurricanes, second in the Metro last season. Although they did fall in the first round of the playoffs against the Devils now. We'll see how we fare here. We give up 2 in the first period. Andrei Svechnikov and Victor Hedman now on the Hurricanes. And now for the second period, we give up another pair there. Alexander Kerfoot, 2 power play goals within about 5 minutes. Zadina does get his first of the season. And now for the third period, as Cole Sillinger does net his first one, but again, another power play goal surrendered. So our penalty kill was not good in this one as compared to the first game, where I think we went 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 on the penalty kill, as we're now 0-2 to start Year 5. Now a road game here against the Philadelphia Flyers, as they've been on the come-up now, maybe poised for a playoff season, as they have Jyrki Konttinen, a 91 overall 20-year-old, just phenom we missed out on, as he was the first pick the year after we won the draft lottery, of course. And again, just like the last game, we fall 2-0 after one period, and Sean Couturier on the power play as that theme continues. And then Jyrki Konttinen, we were just talking about him, and he finds the back of the net. And now we do tie it up, though, in the second period, outshooting Philly 21-13. So hopefully our first chance at points in this Year 5 season. Andrew Kopp, his first goal as a Whaler, and also Brandon Montour got one not even a minute later. So since it's tied up, we will just simulate this one kind of in real time. A power play. Actually, we had a 5-on-3, which we did not convert on. Another 5-on-3. And we do get one there from Denis Gurianov, his first goal as a member of the Whalers on the power play to give us the lead. Now down the stretch, less than 5 minutes left of game time. Now less than 2 minutes and into the final minute. And we do get our first win of this Year 5 season. Denis Gurianov, the hero there on the power play. And we answer with a power play goal of our own finally after surrendering, what was that, like 4 in a 2-game span. Just unexcusable, unacceptable, inexcusable. as now a back-to-back here with Boston, so we're going to get probably our first look at Daniil Tarasov, our backup goalie. So now another road game here. We're going to take on the Boston Bruins, who enter at 0-3, so hopefully we're not the first team to put them in the points column, and we'll see if the CPU puts Tarasov in for this one or the next one against Anaheim. And after one, we are tied 1-1. Askarov still in net, so trying to build off last game's win as Gabriel Landeskog beats Linus Ullmark for his first goal as a member of our Hartford Whalers. Of course, acquired him back in the offseason from Colorado. And now after two, we're up 4-2. Make it, I think it was 4 straight unanswered goals going back to the first period as Mangiapane gets his first of the season for the captain. And then just 30 seconds later, Landeskog nets his second of the game. And then Jack Rozovic gets one as well. But Tarasov now in net in the second period, so that must mean Askarov maybe got injured. I really hope that's not the case, but we'll see if Daniil Tarasov now can hold down the stretch, as again, like we did with the Flyers game, we'll just simulate, and early on, he gives up a goal to Bunting, and right after that to Oliver Bjorkstrand, not even, or I guess a minute later, as another power play there for Boston. And just like that, the Bruins have tied it up here, but we get the late lead back as Tom Wilson, his first of the season, beats Rucha, backup goalie here for the Boston Bruins, as Swayman now in the Los Angeles Kings, as we get the win here 5-4 in a very high-scoring affair. Let's take a look at the top 3 stars in Gabriel Landeskog, 2 goals, an assist, 3 hits, en route to being named the first star, followed by Tom Wilson and Jack Rozovic, those 2 veterans working on our bottom line. But no injury update here for Yaroslav Askarov. As I stand corrected, he's going to be out till December 6th, so he couldn't even make it 4 games into the season. And now early on, we're going to be forced to call up one of our young goalies who we wanted to give some time to progress here down in the AHL. And here's Javon Marks, 22 years old, tearing it up so far in just 4 games, as he's 3-1 with a shutout, a .932 save percentage, 197 goals against. He was our second-round pick back in 2024. But I don't know that he's ready to, be called up to the NHL quite yet. I don't want to mess with his progression, especially when he's playing so well. And then there's Scott Ratzlaff, who has not seen any NHL time either. We drafted him the year before we drafted Javon Marks, but I think it's paramount not to really disrupt the progression right now of Javon Marks. We need someone just to go up to the NHL level and act as a backup now for Daniil Tarasov for about a month or so. I think it said Askarov was out till, I think, December, so not ideal. Maybe we'll look at the waiver wire. Maybe we can find just a veteran goalie to fill the void for now. But a crushing blow to start the season. Yaroslav Askarov already out for about a month or 2, I think it said. As Daniil Tarasov, now the guy. Last year was really his first season as our backup. Went 10-15, a .907 save percentage, sub 3 goals against. But he would get hot at times, posted a pair of shutouts, and he was able to hang on for the win there against the Bruins. So not ideal here for our Hartford Whalers, as our starting goaltender, who is set for a career year, is now out for the next couple months. So we're going to have to rally now around our backup goaltender, as we do come off back-to-back wins here. And now we're set to host last year's Stanley Cup champion Anaheim Ducks, although off to a rocky start based on how they finished last season, entering this one at 1-3-1. So a pair of wins here for Hartford. Let's keep it going as Daniil Tarasov makes his first start of this Year 5 season. And again, Anaheim up 2-0, but they threw Scott Ratzlaff in. They put Ratzlaff in for his NHL debut, the former 3rd-round pick from the Seattle Thunderbirds. And we do we do take the lead here in the 3rd period. Philip Zadina on the power play, got one much later on towards the end of the period. And then a couple minutes later, Jack Rozovic able to net one, as Hartford 3 straight goals on just 18 shots there against Gibson, as we will simulate this one live and see if Daniil Tarasov again can close this one out with a win, as Gabriel Landeskog nets one. But right after, there's Mason McTavish, and right after that, Ivan Provorov. So within not even 2 minutes, 3 goals, and then another one there by Greer, as it's now a 5-4 lead for Hartford. So if we're going to win these games with our goaltending, we're going to have to score a lot of goals. Less than 2 minutes, less than 1 minute, and we do hang on to win another one here, make it 3 straight now for our Whalers, as we defeat last year's Stanley Cup champion, the Anaheim Ducks. Another 4 points for Landeskog, 3 hits, as again he's named the first star. A pair of goals for Zadina, and what was a very poor start to the episode has now turned the corner a little bit. Landeskog currently leading our team with 8 points, but now at Montreal 4-1 to start the season, as they're currently atop the Atlantic Division. But let's just check in and make sure we have Tarasov in net for this game. But it looks like Scott Ratzlaff, the win in his NHL debut, stopped 29 out of 33 shots, gets the win. But now it's up to Daniil Tarasov to really carry on the torch from Askarov, who's going to be out until late December. And it all starts here now on the road. Our 3-2 Hartford Whalers against the 4-1 Montreal Canadiens, as we'll sim the first period. And it's tied up 2-2, so we could be in store for another high-scoring affair here. Brock Besser got the first one, followed by Merkley. Then Philip Zadina had 2 in the last game, now 1 in this game, as Korpisalo, the goaltender here for the Canadiens. And we'll sim the second. Again, still tied up here. Sami Maki, he gets his first of the season. Cole Caulfield gets one for the Canadiens. And like we've been doing in these close games, again, we'll just take to the live sim. We're out shooting them 30-22 at this point. Tied up here, as now it is not Topi Antia, one of the young guys on this Canadiens team, a standout. I think a rookie last year or his second season. A very good young player for the Canadiens. Also Gavin McKenna on this Canadiens team in the final minute as they get the empty netter. So our 3-game winning streak snapped by the Montreal Canadiens, as we're now an even 3-3 on the season. So with that, now back-to-back road games here against Minnesota and Pittsburgh. Of course, the Penguins a division opponent. The Minnesota Wild, the Stanley Cup champions from back in year 2 of this franchise. Probably going to see Scott Ratzlaff again in one of these games of a back-to-back, as we'll start this one on the road against the Wild. After the first period, 1-0, as Jared Spurgeon beats Daniil Tarasov. And after the second, 3-0 Minnesota. They get Kaprizov and one for David Perron as well. And we're going to lose here 5-1, although we do get one there from Leo Karlsson. But not a good showing from Daniil Tarasov, as we really need him to step up in the absence of Yaroslav Askarov. And now against Pittsburgh, we're going to assume they threw Scott Ratzlaff in for this one. Hopefully he can keep that 100% win percentage, as after the first period, 3-1 Hartford. But they did keep Daniil Tarasov in net. But if we're going to get 3-1 every period, I wouldn't mind that. Sami Maki, another one, good to see him getting another goal, along with Cole Sillinger and Philip Zadina, just scoring a bunch of goals here. I think working on our top line right now with Landeskog and Scheifele, as that's been huge for us. Now 6-3 as we break it open. Andrew Mangiapane, Andrew Kopp made it 5-1, and then Pittsburgh got a couple within 3.5 minutes from Rust, Ricard Raquel, and Tom Wilson also there to beat Tristan Jarry. So 6-3 heading into the third, and we finish this one 7-3 as Sami Maki nets another one. So a multi-goal game for him. He hasn't had many of those, and also 3 assists there for Peak and Leo Karlsson. So good to see us get the division win there, another high-scoring affair. And like we said, if we're going to be winning these hockey games without our starting goaltender, we're going to have to be scoring goals in order to keep up with our deficiency in that spot. So we also have a player conversation here. Tom Wilson came to us wanting more ice time. We just threw him up there on the second line for now, and he's happy we kept our promise, and that will boost his morale a little bit. We could always just move him right back down to the third line if we want, but it looks, or I guess we don't even get a morale change for keeping our promise, whatever there. But now at Vancouver, and the Canucks do seem to be on the upswing. They've been usually towards the bottom of the NHL now, 4-3-1. I mean, of course, only an 8-game sample size, so not much to judge, but we will go ahead and send the next 2 games of this Year 5 opening episode, and then we'll open next time against the New York Islanders in a very highly contested Metro Division race, as the Islanders did add Quinn Hughes in the offseason. So we're going to take a look at them in the next episode, and probably what will be a full game, kind of like how we opened this episode. So now after a 1 against Vancouver, we do get the lone goal there. Leo Karlsson beats Dan Vladar. And now after 2, we give up 3 there as Scott Ratzlaff is in net. And that was 3 in the matter of a minute and 24 seconds. So a rough showing there early on in the period. Elias Peterson with 2 and Podkolzin with 1. We will sim this last period of play out, shooting them 28-17 now. Kind of like we saw in that Washington game. Despite out shooting them, it didn't matter on the scoreboard, as we did not score there on a power play. Now less than 5 minutes in this game, still 3-1 Vancouver. Another power play for the Whalers in the final minute here, and nothing doing, as 41 shots on goal again. and another 40 save performance against us. Vladar, the first star, a pair of goals for Peterson, as we seem to be falling on hard times now at 4-5. I mean, if we could split our first 10 games of the season with the injury to our starting goaltender considered, I think I would take that result every time. So now here at Detroit, to close out this episode, let us please go out on a high note here. I mean, 5-5 is just so much more satisfying than 4-6 here at the Little Caesars Arena against the Detroit Red Wings. 4-0 after the first period. It doesn't get much better than that. Started on the power play via Filip Zadina, who has to lead our team in goals to this point. A couple in the period by Andrew Mangiapane and Brandon Montour. Nets one shorthanded as we go up 4-0 after one. And now after the second period, they do cut it in half here. Soderblom and DeMeo each net one towards the end of the period. So up 4-2 as we will live sim this third period. Hopefully we do not squander a 4-goal lead and we can end this episode with a win as Brock Besser. That might be his first of the year, maybe his second. I do not recall calling his name much, although I do think he had at least one prior to that. So now 5-2 in the final 5 here as Kaapo Kähkönen was checked into the game there at goaltender. Tom Wilson added one, and also Marco Kasper. And then Mangiapane on the hat trick. So Mangiapane beats the goaltender with 52 seconds remaining to get the hat trick. I think his first hat trick maybe of his career as Jack Roslovic. Look at him, 5 assists. And we could not have ended this episode with a much better result, as Daniil Tarasov has been holding up slightly well, but we do end the episode with a Leo Karlsson injury, so we'll have to tend to that for the next episode, and that is quite the blow. But it's only for about 3 games or so it could be worse. Now he also wants to talk about his ice time concerns. It's like, how about we worry about getting healthy first? And right now he's saying he's not getting enough ice time at 15:05 minutes played. I want to say he's already on our top power play unit on our second line right now, and I don't want to throw him on that top line and disrupt what Scheifele, Landeskog, and Filip Zadina have going on. So I don't know if persuading him will really go in our favor, but I don't want to promise to give him any more playing time, especially at this point where he's injured. So we're just going to go persuade, 50-50 success rate on this. And he is a team player, but he does think the team is better with him playing more minutes. So we're not going to try and disagree with him. We will just promise him that. But, I mean, I'm going to assume he waits to evaluate that until he gets healthy, because just knowing how the AI works in this game, we're going to promise him that, and then he'll be scratched because he can't play due to injury, and then he'll still fault us for breaking that promise. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was an up and down episode here to start year 5, but I will take a 5-5 start, as that has been enough to keep our head above water in a tightly contested Metro division, as we're now here into the year 5 season, and I think we have all the pieces in place to make a deep playoff run this year, but we're going to have to get healthy before we do that. And it starts with Yaroslav Askarov. Hopefully by the time the next episode ends, or in a couple episodes, he's back in net for our Hartford Whalers, and also Leo Karlsson is going to have to get back to 100% as well, as Daniil Tarasov leading the charge with 3 wins now on this year 5 season. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.